Hey guys, Laura with Garden Answer. Today I get to make a spring fairy garden, and I have been particularly looking forward to this project because I finally get to use some real plants. And not that succulents aren't real plants, but these are things that actually survive in my area, which is kind of nice to use sometimes. I mean, I love the spring stuff. Daffodils, violas, English daisies. I think I even have a primrose up here. Just some really bright colors and some actual flowers. We also got a shipment in from myfairygardens.com. They sent us a bunch of really fun spring stuff. We showed it in a past mail time video, but like stuff like this. Really excited. This is like a super cute, I mean the door even works, fairy garden house. So I'm really excited to incorporate some of these pieces in, and this one I think I'm gonna actually put a water feature in. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just fill up the bowl with potting soil. Before I do that though, I want you guys to see that this pot has a drain hole. A lot of you seem very concerned that my pots don't have drain holes, but 9 times out of 10 they do, I promise. So this is a well-draining container. All these plants will be happy. Potting soil. Okay, so before I start planting, I want to talk a little bit about the plants I'm going to be using, or I think I'm going to be using. All of these are small now, but they are varieties that will want to get, most of them are varieties that are going to want to get bigger, way too big for this container. This isn't meant to be a project or a arrangement, I guess I should say, that will last for years. This is one that is meant to look really pretty for the spring, after the spring is over, and maybe even in the summer a little bit. But at some point this year, I will pop everything out and plant it out in the landscape, everything that's native. So like this Colorado blue spruce is a real Colorado blue spruce. It's one that's gonna wanna get really tall and really wide, but it looks really cute right now to be kind of a foresty tree. That's why I'm using that. I'm gonna use some of these daffodils. There's a couple of heucheras. I've got a marmalade and then I think a dark, what's this called? Dark Secret. Heucheras are smaller perennials. They're awesome perennials, one of my favorites. They're semi-evergreen, so they look really pretty in the wintertime, but they do create nice sized mounds. But I'm gonna use them for their foliage color in this arrangement. Boxwoods are, I wanna say hands down my favorite landscape plant. I love them. So I'm gonna use variegated, possibly, and maybe this is a winter gem. These will both want to get several feet tall and wide, but they do take to trimming really well. So these will do great in this container. There is a sword fern that wants to get 2 to 4 feet tall and wide. Again, it looks really cute right now, really small. And then there's a few little annuals actually. The viola, it's not an annual, that's perennial. There's a primrose, which is an annual in my area, and then an English daisy, which is an annual in my area. That will add some really cute color, I think, to the mix. So I just wanted to make sure to let you guys know that I'm not intending this to be something that lasts forever. I wish it did. I wish that these kind of arrangements would last a really, really long time, but they just don't. They're fun projects though. So when I get everything planted out later, I can just do another project in this container. So I guess it's kind of a good thing. We just cleaned out this whole greenhouse, so there's literally nothing behind me right now, which is super weird. Tomorrow I have both of the guys in the nursery will be here. So I will have them moving stuff around and moving tables in here. So it will be full starting tomorrow. So the first plant I'm going to use is going to be my tallest plant. I like to start with the tallest, biggest stuff first, like toward the back of the arrangement or the centerpiece of the arrangement, whichever way I'm doing it. And then I work around it or work in front of it. So I'm gonna start with the Colorado blue spruce, which is going to be in my face the whole rest of this project. Didn't really think about that. Oh, I forget this pot is really light. It's one of those like resin ones, which is awesome. It makes them really easy to carry around, but I forget. Don't know my own strength. Okay, so then on this side, I think I'm gonna go with one of the variegated boxwoods. I think it's just the right size. I have a great disdain for these sort of tags. Oh, they get all caught on all the branches. I rough up the roots just a little bit and break the root memory of the root ball here. And then the winter gem boxwood, I think I'm gonna put right in here to kind of create a really nice, look at my hands. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna create a really nice backdrop for these fairy garden pieces. Okay, so I don't really like that these turned out the same height. So I think I'm gonna swap out and do this short, actually, you know what? Duh, I can trim it. Here we go. I don't think this big green one is working. I think it's too big. I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit all my stuff in here with this one in here. So out it goes, no big deal. I'm gonna tuck a couple of daffodils in. And now the Dark Secret Heuchera. I think that this one will look really pretty with the blue and the yellow. And now I think I want a little pop of color right back up in here. So I'm gonna use the English Daisy for that. Now I want to tuck the house in just to see how it all looks together. I gotta come around and see. Ah, it's so cute. So now I think I'm gonna start in on the water feature portion, and what I'm gonna do, got something in my eye first, hold on. Piece of hair or something. And also, dirt all over it. So what I'm gonna do is sink this container, which will be my water reservoir. It's actually my brown sugar container from home, but it's the only thing I could find in the shape I wanted. So I'm gonna sink that right in here, and that's gonna be my pond or my riverbed reservoir. So I'm gonna have to come around, I think, for this part. Okay, so I have the reservoir all sunk where I want it to be, but before I get it all plumbed and get it all ready, I'm gonna plant my remaining stuff, just in case I fling dirt around. I don't want it getting into that reservoir and plugging up the pump, so I think I'm gonna add a little bit more color. I hate to say this, but I think I actually have to go wash my hands real quick. Before I work on the fountain part of this project, I want clean hands. Okay, so I'm gonna keep the fountain portion of this arrangement really, really simple. So I just used a regular watertight container. You can use anything you want, a bucket. I used a Tupperware thing. You can use a bowl, whatever. And then I have a small garden pump, and I'm not sure how many gallons per hour this one is. I think it's 80. It's probably too big for this kind of arrangement, so I may have to clamp down the tube so that it restricts the flow a little bit. I would just find like the smallest fountain pump you could find. I'm just gonna set this down in the reservoir, and then I'm gonna feed the cord back through all the plants so that the plug-in is coming out the back side. Okay, so now that I have the pump in there, I'm just gonna pack just some large rocks in all the way around it until it meets the top of the container. Okay, so now I've got the container all the way filled with my bigger rocks, and I'm gonna come around the front and fill it up the rest of the way and kind of around the edges with gravel sized, this size of rock. Okay, so the rocks are almost all placed. I'll do some finishing touches in the end, but I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the reservoir now. And then cut my tubing. And then I'm gonna place a couple of rocks around just the top of the tubing where the water comes out, just to kind of help deflect it a little bit. I'm not going for a huge fountain. I just want a nice little bubble of water. Oh yeah, it's working. I'm gonna mess with the rocks a little bit. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. I did. I think this is actually my favorite fairy garden to date. I think just being able to use the bright, colorful spring flowers and then these little cute fairy garden pieces, it just made it such a super fun project. Anyway, I hope you guys are inspired to go try something like this yourself. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.